If you're an American thinking about dating someone from China, you'd better stop and think twice. Because this isn't just about love. It's about a clash of worlds so deep that it will challenge everything you believe about relationships, freedom, and even your identity. Welcome to Cultural Clashes, the channel where we uncover the hidden shocks that happen when cultures collide. Before we dive into today's story, make sure you subscribe, leave a comment, and share this video with your friends. Trust me, after hearing this, you'll want to join the conversation. Dating across cultures is never simple. But when we talk about Americans dating Chinese, the differences go far beyond food, traditions, or language. They reach into the very foundation of what people believe love should be. On one side, you have American culture, individualistic, direct, prioritizing personal freedom and choice. On the other side, Chinese culture, collectivist, subtle, deeply influenced by family expectations, traditions, and social harmony. When these two meet in romance, sparks fly. And those sparks don't always create fireworks. They often burn everything around them. Let's imagine a couple. David, a 30-year-old from New York. Independent, ambitious, raised to believe in following his heart, no matter what anyone else thinks. And then there's Lina, a 27-year-old from Beijing. Bright, caring, ambitious as well, but raised in a world where family approval is not just important, it's essential. For David, love is about two people deciding to be together. For Lina, love is about two families, two histories, and a web of expectations that go far beyond her personal desires. At first, they're fascinated by each other. David loves her grace, her intelligence, her calm way of handling life. Lina admires his confidence, his independence, his open heart. But soon, their differences start to reveal themselves. The first clash comes with family. In American culture, relationships often begin with two individuals. Family might meet later, but the couple defines the relationship first. In China, family approval is everything. Parents are not just spectators, they are decision makers. Lina tells David, "My parents need to meet you before we can be serious." David is shocked. "Why do your parents have a say in our relationship?" For him, love is private. For her, love is communal. And without her parents' blessing, their future is uncertain. Then comes communication. Americans value directness. If David doesn't like something, he says it openly. "I don't agree with that. I need space." Straightforward, clear. In Chinese culture, communication is often indirect. Saying no too strongly can be seen as rude. Avoiding confrontation maintains harmony. Lina might say, "Maybe we should think about it," when she actually means, "No, I don't want that." David hears hesitation, not refusal. He pushes forward, thinking he can convince her. She feels disrespected because he didn't understand her subtle signal. Both are speaking English, but the cultural codes behind their words are completely different. And then we get to romance itself. Americans are used to public displays of affection, holding hands, kissing in public, saying "I love you" often. But Chinese culture is more reserved. Love is shown through actions, not words. Lina cares deeply for David, but she doesn't say "I love you" every day, nor does she kiss him on the street. For David, this feels cold. For Lina, it feels natural. She shows love by cooking for him, worrying about his health, planning his future. But David doesn't see these as romantic gestures. He sees them as practical. The cultural gap makes both feel unloved. The differences grow sharper when they talk about the future. In American culture, marriage is about choice. I marry who I love. In Chinese culture, marriage is about stability, family honor, and often social status. Lina's parents want her to marry someone successful, stable, preferably Chinese, someone who understands the traditions. David, an American with a different cultural background, faces skepticism from the start. Even if Lina loves him, her family may never accept him. And in China, family rejection isn't just an obstacle. It can be the end. Money becomes another battlefield. Americans often see money in relationships as individual. My account, your account, and maybe one joint account. In China, money is tied to responsibility. Men are often expected to provide, to show financial strength as proof they can support a family. When David suggests splitting the bill, Lina feels confused. For her, it signals lack of commitment. For him, it signals equality. What he calls fairness, she calls weakness. Even daily habits reveal clashes. David is casual, calling elders by their first names, making jokes freely. In China, respect for elders is sacred. Titles, politeness, formal gestures, they matter. When David makes a joke with Lina's father, trying to be friendly, it comes across as disrespectful. He thinks he's being open. They think he's being rude. The clash isn't just between two people. It's between two cultural systems that interpret every action differently. The longer the relationship lasts, the heavier these differences become. At first, David loves Lina's mysterious subtlety, her connection to tradition, her family values. Lina loves David's freedom, his independence, his confidence. But what attracted them in the beginning becomes the source of conflict later. His independence feels like selfishness. Her family values feel like pressure. His directness feels harsh. Her subtlety feels dishonest. The clash deepens, but the biggest shock comes with expectations. In American culture, dating can be casual, exploratory. You try, you learn, you move on if it doesn't work. In Chinese culture, dating is often serious from the start. It's not just about seeing where it goes, it's about marriage potential. Lina expects David to think long-term quickly. David expects time, space, freedom to decide. When he hesitates, she feels betrayed. When she pressures, he feels trapped. This is why so many Americans who date Chinese partners end up shocked. They thought they were signing up for romance, but they discover they are also signing up for family approval. Financial expectations, cultural traditions, and a completely different definition of love. David and Lina's story is only the beginning, because as the months go by, the weight of these cultural differences grows heavier. What started as fascination becomes frustration. What felt unique becomes exhausting. And the question is no longer, do we love each other? But can our love survive our cultures? In the next part, we'll dive even deeper into the hidden struggles of American-Chinese relationships. We'll see how jealousy, loyalty, public image, and even small daily habits turn into explosive points of conflict. And we'll uncover why, for many Americans, dating someone from China feels less like a love story and more like a cultural battlefield. Stay with me, because the clash is only getting started. When the first sparks of attraction fade, what remains is the weight of two cultural systems clashing every single day. For Americans dating Chinese partners, this is the moment when curiosity turns into confusion and love begins to feel like negotiation. Let's go back to David and Lina. At first, their love felt exciting, two worlds blending, two perspectives enriching each other. But after a year, their relationship looks less like a romance and more like a constant balancing act. Every dinner, every conversation, every holiday exposes another layer of difference. One of the biggest battles is jealousy, but not in the way Americans expect. In the US, jealousy is often personal, about trust between two individuals. In China, jealousy can extend beyond romance. It can be about loyalty to family, dedication to traditions, even the amount of time given to work versus the relationship. When David chooses to spend Thanksgiving in New York instead of traveling to Beijing for Lunar New Year, Lina feels betrayed. "Why can't you prioritize my family?" she asks. For him, it's just a scheduling choice. For her, it's a test of loyalty, and he failed. Social image also becomes a source of conflict. In American culture, relationships are private. Couples share what they want when they want. But in China, appearances matter. How you present your relationship to society reflects on your family's honor. Lina pressures David to dress properly when meeting her relatives, to buy certain gifts, to speak politely. He feels controlled. She feels embarrassed when he resists. What he calls authenticity, she calls shame. Friendship dynamics only deepen the gap. David has close female friends, something normal in the US. For Lina, this feels threatening. In her world, cross-gender friendships are less common, often raising suspicion. When she sees him texting a female friend late at night, she doesn't see innocence. She sees betrayal. For David, her suspicion feels irrational. For her, his casualness feels naive. Career choices add another layer of conflict. In the US, following your passion is celebrated, even if it means switching jobs or taking risks. In China, stability and financial success are prized. Lina wants David to think about buying property, saving for the future, building status. David wants to chase opportunities, even if they're uncertain. To her, his risk-taking feels irresponsible. To him, her focus on stability feels limiting. Love becomes a debate about values, freedom versus security, passion versus duty. Even daily habits turn into cultural wars. David loves open debates, discussing politics and criticizing leaders openly. In China, such conversations are sensitive, sometimes even dangerous. Lina avoids them, preferring silence over confrontation. David interprets her silence as indifference. She interprets his openness as recklessness. Their conversations turn into moments of tension where neither feels fully understood. Food, too, plays its role. David enjoys quick meals, burgers, and independence at the table. Lina treasures long meals with shared dishes, where eating is a communal ritual. When he eats alone in his room, she feels abandoned. When she insists on multi-hour dinners with family, he feels drained. Neither sees the other's behavior as normal. The most difficult difference, however, is the role of family in decision-making. In America, once you're an adult, your choices are yours. In China, parents often remain deeply involved, even controlling in their children's lives. Lina's parents ask about David's job, his salary, his future plans. They pressure her to consider other suitors, Chinese men with stable careers. David feels humiliated. "Why do they have a say in our life?" he asks. But for Lina, ignoring her parents isn't an option. Family duty is part of her identity. Love without family approval is nearly impossible. As months pass, David begins to see the truth. His relationship isn't just with Lina, it's with her parents, her traditions, her society. Every argument feels like fighting against a culture much larger than her. And Lina feels the same. Loving David means swimming against her family's expectations, facing gossip, enduring pressure. Love becomes a battlefield on two fronts, between them and between their worlds, and this is the warning. Americans who date Chinese partners are often shocked not by the person, but by the culture that surrounds them. They discover that love is not just private, it's public, social, collective. They learn that every gesture, every choice, carries meaning beyond their control. They realize that what they thought was simple romance is, in fact, a negotiation with centuries of tradition. Does this mean it's impossible? No, some couples find balance. Some Americans learn to respect the family-centered nature of Chinese love, while some Chinese partners embrace the independence of American love. But it requires extraordinary patience, compromise, and cultural awareness. And let's be honest, not everyone has that. Most don't. That's why so many of these relationships start with fascination and end with frustration. So should Americans date Chinese? Only if they're ready to face one of the most intense cultural clashes in the world. Only if they're ready to sacrifice independence for harmony, freedom for duty, privacy for public image. Because dating across these worlds isn't just about love, it's about identity. And if you're not ready to question your own definition of love, then maybe you shouldn't step into this battlefield at all. So, what do you think? Could you survive this clash? Would you choose passion, even if it meant pressure? Tell us in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe and share this video, because the more we talk about these cultural shocks, the more we understand how love changes when worlds collide.